Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Atrocious. You can also call me Jake. And today we've got the second semifinal round of the National University 3-on-3 OP06 ST13 tournament here for you today. This is going to be arguably my favorite video that we've done up to this point. It is going to be Team Vinsmoke family, Germa 66 versus Team Yamato. My two favorite decks of OP06 that I'm going to be playing, and I'm excited because this round is going to be what they showcase. It's going to be the blue purple versus the yellow green, so I'm so excited. I hope you are too in this one. Just to be clear though, this is not my content. This is the official live stream that they had for this. You can check it out in the description below if you want to watch it for yourself. It is very fun and cool. So starting out, this is the Germa 66 hand. You have two searchers and the stadium. The stadium is very, very good for what you are trying to do, and also a missed double finger and a Ichiji, I think is how you pronounce that guy's name. Yeah, Vinsmoke Ichiji is that 4-drop character there. So very, very, I mean, it's a decent hand. Like, it could get worse if you were to mulligan this and do some damage, but with the searchers, I think you can manage this hand. And this hand for the Yamato, so this is an interesting hand from the Yamato. You like the Izzo 2K, you like that 4-drop yellow dog guy I forgot how to say, Inuarashi, I think is called, and then you have two Howdy Jones and a 200 million volts Amaru. So honestly, pretty good hand, I feel like, for Yamato, because Yamato, with that double attack on the character, you could just, for your first couple turns anyway, just swing a lot and then just be really top heavy in the game. So looks like the Vinsmoke family is going first, playing that Germa 66 search card. Going to be looking at the top 5 and finding a Germa type card. Got a couple in there because almost all of the deck is Germa cards. So grabbing that 4-drop Reiju right there, that wonderful 4-drop 5,000 power card on play. If you have equal or less down on your field than your opponent, you have 5 or less cards in hand, draw 2 cards. Really good support character that you can evolve into. And so the Yamato is just going to 2-don and pass because they can attack anyway, so why not just pass? And so moving now into the 3-don turn for the Reiju Vinsmoke family, going to be doing one for the stadium card. So the stage card, very, very good, and going to be using that to pitch the Ryuji in the trash. Look at the top 3 cards, reveal a Germa of its type, and put it in your hand. So looking at the hand, it's going to be grabbing a baby Reiju, which is very, very nice and could actually combo well this turn if they wanted, because that is a 2-cost character. Going to be swinging 5 at the Yamato, and the Inuarashi is going to be countered out, and then going to be playing the 2 to play the Reiju, and then don -1 to use the activate main effect, trash the character, and if your leader has the Germa 66 type, play up to 1 4-cost Vinsmoke Reiju from your hand or trash. So playing the one that they trashed from the stadium, and then because they had less don or equal to than their opponent and 5 or less cards in hand, they got to draw 2 as well. So really showcasing the early strong stages of this archetype. And so now with the Yamato in the 4-don turn, getting the Neko Mamushi, just going to be swinging 9 and say, okay, counter out of this or take the double attack. And so you definitely, with 9 is a crazy number for turn 2 because you have to commit 3 cards, and that's exactly what they do. 2 2K counters, the Sora missed double finger, and then also a 1K counter. So blocking out of that and going down to 5 cards in hand. We've seen in previous videos that the Vinsmoke Germa 66 deck really can struggle if it gets a low hand. So really good job by that Yamato. I mean, I think that's really the only play that they really could make, to be honest. So the Reiju playing the Germa 66 event card, finding that Ichiji 7-drop, so could be really good to combo with the stadium real quick right here, because you do have that 4-drop Ichiji, and with 3 Dawn left, you could get a little bit of things going at this point. So thinking about what they want to do, going to be using that stage, ditching that card like I just mentioned, looking at the top 3, finding a couple different cards in there, 4s and 5s in that one. Going to be a combination of Niji and Yonji. We saw the strength of Yonji in the last game that we showcased, the Germa 66 archetype. And so thinking about what they want at this point, they're thinking about the Niji. I don't really think they've seen any of the Nijis or Yonjis yet, but going to be grabbing that Niji right there. Probably better because you saw 2 of them in that draw going to the bottom of the deck. It's probably way less likely that you'll find them later, and so could be just strong cards to be able to utilize. And so attaching 1 Dawn to the character Reiju and swinging 6 at lead right here. Going to be a 2k counter, easy Satori. And then thinking about how they want to play out the rest of their 2 Dawn. That Nekomamushi is only a 1k counter, so this 7k swing through leader, just 6k swing actually. Just going to be a 6k swing and leaving 1 Dawn open. Probably going to play that Kaya is going to be another Nekomamushi. So the Nekomamushi does have a trigger, but the trigger says if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, play this card. So with the Reiju countering out of that double attack, really just saving that one. And so another 9k swing from Yamato. Is this going to be a landslide? I hope not. 9k swing from Yamato and 2 Dawn left. Maybe thinking about playing that Hiyori that they have in hand, is a 2-cost character right there. So going to be swinging 9, I presume, at lead. And so there's going to be a Kaya ditch, and also it looks like the missed double finger potentially. And so one thing that they're showing right here is the Onami. There's no Onami in any of the hands, but definitely if you're going to take a double attack, you don't want it to be a banish. So going to be a double finger, going to be that card right there, and the Kaya, and putting them down to a 2-card hand. My goodness. Oh my. Just absolutely disgusting overall, in my opinion, by the Yamato. This is the crazy thing about Yamato that people are going to get really annoyed with and really going to hate, because this Yamato hasn't done anything besides swing with leader, and it's gotten so much pressure on. But not letting the double attacks happen yet. Yamato eventually has to put characters down on the field. This may be the last turn of the big giant swing. So passing the turn now into the Reiju's turn. It's going to be 6 Dawn equal to the Yamato. And so thinking about what they want to do, they've got some of those 4s and 5s in hand. Could use that stadium card, but would have to pitch one of their Nijis or the Ichiji. The Ichiji would be good to play because you know you have a 7-drop Ichiji in the trash. And so, but one of the things about the Ichiji is on play, you do get that minus 3,000 power on a character in order to give it rush. So you kind of want to wait until the Yamato puts a character down, right? To be able to play that guy. So maybe you just go in, you use the leader effect on the Nijiji, in the Niji, not the Nichiji, Niji, and search for a little bit, maybe play the other one as well. You wouldn't really get the on play effect, but I think that on play effect is not as valuable in this position as the Ichiji. So who knows? The 5k swing from the Reiju character is a quick Nekomamushi counter. And so now thinking about what they want to do, it's just so tough because you have that Yamato double attack. And so all 6 of the Dawn remaining right here. Here's the thing about the Yamato. Because the Yamato is a little bit slower in this aspect, I do think you need to just continuously put bodies down. So this 6k swing now into the Yamato could initiate the Niji play down. I do think that you should play it down. I think it's just a good idea. Just continuously, again, putting down bodies on the board. So going to be a 2k counter with the Hiyori there, staying at that 3 life and resting, is that 4? Ooh, so playing the Ichiji down, I don't know if I would do the Ichiji, to be honest. And here's my thinking. I would want to save the Ichiji to compete with Howdy Jones, right? And so with that leader effect, because the Dawn went back into the Dawn deck, did get to draw a card off of that, and no rush gets onto the Ichiji. That's the reason. Wait, what? Oh, it says and the character gains rush. So it's not if you do get to minus, you get to gain rush. Okay, I don't hate this play as much remembering that fact, but it's still not a great position. So grabbing the... Can you grab the Germa Kingdom off of Germa Kingdom? I thought you couldn't, but I guess you can. You can grab any Germa card in there. So that's the only option that they had. So it's just going to be an easy like Germa Kingdom effect later. And so now the Yamato moves into their next turn right here. At 2 life left, they do need to start putting characters down onto the field. So thinking about what they want to do at this point. They have another Hiyori in hand and some Izzos, so a bunch of 2K counters. Just going to be swinging 6 at this point, and I don't know where this 6 is going. It might be going into the Reiju, the character, just because with a 3-card hand, you feel pretty confident that that's going to come down. And then also the Howdy Jones is probably coming down, so you might be like board wiping in a sense, because you could use the other 2 Dawn on the... You could use the other 2. No, because Howdy Jones costs 7 overall, so that would be the rest of your Dawn. So that was actually going at life, and they're going to be taking it, going to be taking that double attack, and it's going to be 2 cards into the hand. It looks like another Ichiji and a Sora. So Sora, a 2K counter, could be nice. And so the Howdy Jones going to be a card that they're eyeing up. I do think you... the Howdy Jones is weird because the Howdy Jones takes your life, right? It takes your own life when you do play that card down. And so if you do that, you do put yourself at 1 life. And so they are going to do that, going to be taking their own life, resting that 1 Dawn, no shenanigans happening. And that's a Charlotte Cracker. That's going to be a very nice card that they wish they had back, but then using leader effect because the opponent is at 2 or less life and going to be swinging 10 with Howdy Jones. And so countering out of that one, it's going to be moving on into the next turn. So there is reason that the Reiju could win this turn, but there's a ton of counter in the Yamato's hand. So I think you go more for board control overall. Could be something that you do. If you can get the Yanji down, the blocker, that would, in my opinion, be ideal. You definitely want a blocker at this point, but if they respond with a Howdy Jones, then the blocker's kind of for nothing overall. So they're reading Howdy Jones again, just making sure, probably making sure that it's both characters and Dawn that they can do the resting part of it. So you would have to get 3 Yanjis down in order to survive, and that's definitely not something that's going to happen. So thinking about this, they're at 2, 4, 6, 7 Dawn. What can they do with 7 Dawn? I think definitely taking out Howdy Jones is a priority, but here's the thing. With the Yamato swing and then the Howdy Jones come down, because they have another Howdy Jones in hand, you only have 3 cards in hand. So it's like, what are you going to do here? And so 3 cards, can't grab that Kaya, can grab that 2-drop Reiju or the Germa Searcher card. The Germa Searcher card could be good to look at a bunch of other cards. Top 5 to find another character to evolve into, apply pressure, or come down. And so we'll see exactly how they want to play this out. It's definitely not going to work as a counter card. That's for sure. You didn't plus or minus any counter in your hand. You do have the Yonji. You do have 1 Yonji in hand, that little 2-drop guy. And Actually, I don't know if you have a Yanji in the discard pile. To be honest, I know we saw one, I think, on a search, but I don't think we put one in the discard pile, so that could be a little tough. But again, the Howdy Jones could just rest them. So is it more effective to just have that guy as counter in your hand? I definitely think the Ichiji as a 7 drop character is just better as a rush character, because you can minus the Howdy Jones 2,000, right? It would make him 6,000. You could swing twice at him, at least get like 2 cards, and then just kind of go at life a little bit if you wanted. But then you wouldn't be able to use the Germa 66 searcher card to find any like 2K Soras or anything like that. So just overall a super tricky position in my opinion. It doesn't look good, actually, to be honest. Like you have to get rid of the Howdy Jones, but Howdy Jones is coming on next turn. And Howdy Jones doesn't need to take a life in order to get rush. It will get rush no matter what. If you have no life, you just don't take a life. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. They're thinking about doing 2 Dawn. Where would this 2 or 3 Dawn go? The 2 Dawn would be to evolve Yonji, right? And so swinging 7k, presumably at life. You can't swing at the Howdy Jones with only 7. I mean, you just bail out on some 2Ks, right? You've got another Howdy Jones, so like, it doesn't matter what you get rid of. Just don't get rid of Howdy Jones. And so the 2K and a 1K coming down to get to 8 and defend against that Ichiji. And so 7 Dawn now. Man, I know a lot of people are going to hate Yamato when it comes in OP06. But again, like, I think Yonji is actually just better in your hand and not playing. You only have 6k counter, though. You literally have no way to stop a Howdy Jones, all these Howdy Joneses. You don't, I don't see a way in which Reiju wins, because the Yamato just starts and the Yamato uses double attack, right? Like, you have to somehow go for win here. And you need this to hit. So you have to hope that 8k gets you enough, which we know that they have 2 2Ks in hand. So they're going to take this life. It's going to be a Momonosuke. And then the Reiju swing, they counter out of it with 2 Izzos. And so here we go. The Yamato, as soon as they hit the 10 Dawn turn, they're going to win this game. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. So boosting the Yamato right there, going to be attaching 1 more for a 9k swing. That is going to take the double attack, and then the rest go on Howdy Jones and then use leader effect to swing just a bajillion damage and win the game. That was, I feel like, a pretty easy game for Yamato. And I don't know if it's because the games are so short because of the double attack that Yamato just kind of feels that way. Like, I mean, Yamato had only 1 life left at that point. So maybe it wasn't like as like a far outreach as one might originally think. But either way, unfortunate for the Vinsmoke family. I was rooting for him. I think it's a really cool deck. But now we move into the Sakazuki mirror. You thought you had enough Sakazuki mirrors in OP05. Don't worry. Sakazuki gets stronger in OP06 and is definitely like the best deck in format, in my opinion, at least, after watching these tournaments. And so this Sakazuki player swinging 7. This is a relatively close game, in all honesty. Going to be swinging 7 now. This player on the left has a pretty healthy amount of cards in hand. I think 6 or 7. And then the player on the right has like 4. So thinking about what they want to discard, they have a couple events in there. 3 events, a Houndblaze, a Great Eruption, and an Ice Age. So Several cards that don't have counter in general. I think they also have a starter deck Hina in hand, so there's at least one more that doesn't have counter on it. If you block the Borsalino, you can just get rid of 2K, and that 2K Virgo is exactly what they're going to do right there. And so passing it off to the player on the left. So it's going to be the full Tendon turn at this point. Did they draw a card? I think they drew another Houndblaze. So looking at the discard pile, seeing what they've got a good amount of options in the discard pile, but I don't think they have Rebecca. So I think they're thinking about using Great Eruption first. The Great Eruption to draw a card, maybe minus the Hina or the Roblucci. Going to be using Ice Age. So the Ice Age would minus either Rebecca or Roblucci. I don't see what you would use like it on anything else. Is that a black and white Sanji Dawn, or is that just the lighting that makes it look black and white? I was like, is that Dawn Proxy? Man, I'm glad that I'm not smart enough to... Oh, they're using Leader Effect on the Ice Age first. And so all 10 Dawn, I thought they were going to play the Ice Age, but they actually just pitched it. So seeing now in here, it looks like they have another Suru in hand. Going to be playing one. They might play some of these Surus. Playing this Great Eruption first, I would think. They could Great Eruption. They could Houndblaze the Rebecca. That would leave them with 7 Dawn overall. So mapping out kind of what they want to do. I think they might think about... Sorry for that bump of the mic. And then using the Houndblaze to bottom deck the Roblucci. Going to be putting the Houndblaze on the leader. And then swinging 8 at the Hina. So this is either going to take out the Rebecca or probably take out the Hina at this point. And they've got a couple Dawn left. They've got 7 Dawn in total. So the 7 Dawn in total. I don't think they have another Houndblaze. They have a Suru to minus. And they're going to Rebecca block out of that. So going to be using 2 to Branu. Going to be looking at 3 cards. Found a Great Eruption and a Tashigi and a Hina that they could find. So they have another Houndblaze. They could hard play the starter deck Hina and then Houndblaze it if they wanted to get rid of another body like the Hina. But they're going to be grabbing that Tashigi. And so with 5 Dawn left, going to be resting 3 or 2. Going to be resting the 2 first to bottom deck the Hina and boost the Borsalino. And then swinging that 8, going to be hitting life, and it's going to put a Roblucci in hand, and then hard play Hina and pass the turn. So interesting to see the hard play of the Hina and then pass immediately. We usually see Hina in combination with like bottom decking or KOing and things like that, but I think the Hina is actually a pretty good option at this point to do something like a hard play and then immediately pass, because like you need to keep up bodies. Like the way that you win this mirror match, I feel like a lot of times, is you just have more bodies than them, right? If you can outpace putting down bodies to them getting rid of bodies, you'll win the game, right? I think that's how kind of this mirror match goes. And so now with the 6 card hand, they got a Rebecca and a Roblucci in hand. They could do some digging to get rid of things. They've got that Hina as well that they could play off of the Rebecca to minus some characters, and then also a Houndblaze in hand. Looks like another Borsalino and a Suru as well. So some options. They've got some options to be able to work with. What do they leader effect though? That's the real question. Do you just leader affect the Hina, or do you keep the Hina in hand? So it's going to be swinging 5 first, and that 5 I presume is going to be at leader. They're going to think about what they want to minus. I think you probably minus... You probably like minus the Rebecca or the Hina, right? I think the Borsalino you save through the Hina effects, so then you can maybe bottom deck it off of the Houndblaze. But then can you rob Lucci in the turn? You could actually potentially rob Lucci in the turn, but the 5 lead is going to get countered out by Borsalino at 6. And so going to be resting that 4 for the Rebecca. Going to be grabbing something. Could be like a 2K Virgo. It is. And going to be playing down that Hina, I presume. Going to be minusing a character, whatever it is. I think they're maybe thinking about what they want to minus. I think they're deciding on this Hina of like doing what I said about bottom decking the Borsalino, or what they're thinking about doing is like maybe getting like the Branu or the Hina or the Rebecca even and KO off Rob Lucci. It's either thinking about KOing a character off the Rob Lucci, and it looks like they're going to minus for the Rebecca. So it looks like Rob Lucci is going to take out probably the Rebecca and Hina, if I had to take a guess. And that is exactly what's going to happen. And you could use Houndblaze to bottom deck the Branu at least and swing with the with your Branu. So that is what's going to happen. So swinging 6, this could go at the Borsalino. I don't know if I'd agree with it. They're going into life. I like going into life, something like that. I think just because that Borsalino is a 6K body, I think it's pretty easy to get out of overall, even if they only had a 3-card hand. And so now going in 10 Dawn now on this turn. Board's looking pretty good for the player on the left, but if we know anything about Sakazuki, the tides can turn very quickly. So starting off playing that Tashigi, looking at the top 5, finding a Navy. They found a Suru, Houndblaze, and some other good cards. Amano Murakuma. They're going to take the Houndblaze. Houndblaze, just a really, really good card. Going to be pitching the Rob Lucci off of Leader Effect and then playing 1 Dawn for a Suru, minusing that Rebecca. And then with 2 more Dawn, going to be using a Houndblaze to bottom deck the Rebecca, boosting the Borsalino now because that Rebecca was at 2 cost, and attaching 1 Dawn to the Borsalino. Swinging at life. They could actually go for a game right here if this 9K swing connects. They could swing 9 and 9. So maybe swinging at life right now. Only 3 cards in hand for the Sakazuki. One of them we know is a Suru, so if they pitch 2 1Ks, or maybe pitch their whole hand, 1 2K and 2 1Ks, and they are going to do that. So game cannot be won now. Actually, no, it can. If you swing 5 at lead, right, you do hit. Oh, going right there. I was going to say you could attach the 4 Dawn. Oh no, you played the Tashigi this turn. Never mind. I'm silly. I'm dumb. I've been recording a lot of games lately. Especially tonight. I've been doing this whole tournament in one night, and we've seen every single match in the top 8 bracket, and then some because of stuff like this, where they show like the other game that's finishing up. And so now on the 10 Dawn turn, still 1 life left on each side. So what do you do here? Lucci getting that 2K Suru, just getting that out of hand. And so Sakazuki now. Do you try to like KO the Borsalino, or do you try to go for game? You only have 1 card in hand. I think it's a Tashigi. Even if the Tashigi finds Houndblaze, it's still the same amount of power and the same amount of Dawn effectively. So you might as well just keep the 1K counter in hand. So I think they're mapping it out. You have to hit twice. So swinging 7? 6. 7? 6. Gonna be swinging 6. So surprisingly didn't swing with the brand new first is interesting, but swinging 6 to Shigi here. They've got 1 card in hand. Going to be taking that life. They've got a Borsalino. So 1 attack is going to get blocked. So you need 1 attack to get blocked and the other one hit. Now, in the order that you need this one to get blocked. So going to be swinging 7K. So it's going to be 2 7s, and it's going to be a Borsalino block right there. That was a quick Borsalino block. If there's a 2K and a 1K, they survive. If it's not, you probably lose. So using leader effect to draw to Shigi, making sure it's not a Hellblaze, and it's going to be 2 1Ks. That means the 7 is going to work. And the team, the Yamato team, into the championship final. My goodness. Can the strength of double attack Yamato be the play in this championship tournament? Can it go faster than all the black decks that have dominated in the OP06 meta? Man, that was exciting. Very, very cool. I would assume it was like a 1-to-1 tie before the result of that game. So very, very cool. Again, we'll have the championship on this channel as the next one. We'll preview the matchups going in right here. I won't tell you which matchup they'll showcase, but it'll be Sakazuki and Yamato, Katakuri and Moira, and Moria and Sakazuki. So excited for this one. This has been a really, really cool series to watch. I've enjoyed all these games, and I hope you join me for the next one. Thanks for watching.